Hey everybody, what's happening? So I want to talk about what it was like for me to transition from living in a house to living in a van and traveling the United States. This will also be pertinent information for people who are planning to just move into a van or a school bus or an RV or whatever and not travel. But if you're living in a van or an RV or a school bus or a truck camper or whatever, you should travel, dude. You've got the perfect opportunity. Get out there and see the world because it's a magical, beautiful place. And it's got its share of ugly, don't get me wrong, but it's all right. So, the first time I left was terrible. It was horrible. It was painful. It was excruciating. It was stressful. And the reason why is because I had a lot of unanswered questions in my brain. I kind of just jumped into this thing and I didn't really know what I was getting into. And there were all kinds of unanswered questions in my mind, like where am I going to sleep? How am I going to find work? Am I going to get towed or arrested? Are hillbillies going to kidnap me or steal my things? Are aliens going to abduct me? Are coyotes going to eat me? Are bears going to eat me? And it was this incredibly stressful thing that just snowballed, and all of a sudden I was in a state of chronic stress, and every little tiny thing stressed me out and freaked me out, and every little threat in my mind triggered a panic attack. So I went back. I stayed at my parents' house for another, I think, 3 or 4 months or something. I don't know, some amount of time. I corrected my brain. I fixed my van because my van was not running very good and it was not handling very good. The idler arms were off and it was steering all over the place. It was really bad. It was really stressful. I mean, I was white knuckle on the steering wheel, trying to keep this thing going straight. It was very stressful. So what I learned when I went back, or what I did to correct my brain, the first thing is I answered all these unanswered questions that I now knew that I had. And it was extremely important for me to go out and try and fail to be able to succeed at this. Because there were so many things I learned when I failed that I couldn't have learned otherwise. I couldn't have learned by watching other people's videos. But I watched a bunch of videos. I watched A. Clarino, I watched Dan Travels, I watched Will Burson, I watched Stand By Your Van, and I think there were a couple other channels that I watched. A couple RV channels, Nomadic Fanatic and Pippi Peterson. And I tried to answer all these questions that I had of where do I park, how do I find work, all this. I found a couple forums online. I found cheaprvliving.com. Bob is the dude. He is the dude. He is the dude. And he answered so many of my questions. That website is amazing. Check that out if you haven't already. Bob Wells is the godfather of van dwelling. He's the old timer that knows everything about it, every trick in the book, and he's the man. So if you really want to know something, ask him. So, step 1 was answer all these unanswered questions. Step 2 was figure out how to think better so that I didn't get in this crazy cycle of stress and anxiety and constant panic attacks, because I had panic attacks 2 or 3 times a day. And I had adrenal fatigue. I was just in this state of constant overstimulation and being afraid. It was terrible. It was a terrible state to be in. And it was all because I felt overwhelmed because I was suddenly in the situation where I knew nothing about what I was supposed to do or what I was going to do, and I didn't feel safe. And I let my imagination get the best of me. What happens if I'm out here camped in the middle of nowhere and there's nobody for miles, and then all of a sudden there's some hillbillies that want to make me squeal like a pig or something, you know? I made the huge mistake of watching Deliverance 2 days before I left. Huge mistake. Don't do that. Don't recommend it. You know what I mean? No. So that was kind of step 2, was figuring out my mind. And the way that I did that, the main way, was I had to remember, and I had learned this years before, and somehow I'd forgotten. The greatest truths are like that. We're in a spiral where we're constantly remembering and forgetting these great truths and great realizations. At least I am. So I had to remember to live purely in the moment and accept the moment exactly as it is, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Because in this life, it's never gonna be we're comfortable and happy all the time. There's ups and downs, man. There are times where it's excruciating, but it's our choice to accept it and allow it and learn from it, or to fight it and resist it and stay stuck. So, excuse me. Oh, that actually tasted really good. I had a blueberry smoothie earlier. Sorry, that was really gross, wasn't it? So yeah, the whole thing was learning to accept the moment exactly as it is and appreciate it however I can. And that was absolutely huge. Huge. Very, very important. So once I did that, I could start allowing my thoughts to come, allow them to happen, even the paranoid ones, and not fight them, not resist them, not think, oh, that was a bad thought, I shouldn't have thought that, because that'll make me feel bad. So I just allow these, oh my God, what if these happens? And I just look at them. And when I created this space by just being in the present moment all the time, I created the space between my awareness and my thoughts. So now my thoughts are allowed to just like flow through my consciousness, and I don't have to attach myself to them because they're just thoughts. I can just acknowledge them and say, oh, that was an interesting thought, and just let them go. And that was huge, huge, huge. Everybody needs to like practice this because it will bring the most peace and happiness and everything else into your life. And once you do that, once you can observe your thoughts with a distance, then you can challenge them. You can say, oh, I wonder why I thought that. I wonder what happened in the past, or what conditioning I have, what subconscious beliefs I have to create that kind of thought where I would be worried about that, or I would think that. And this is in general. This is not just when you have a negative thought. This is positive thoughts too. Why do I think that? Well, what would I have to believe to think this? So that was the second major thing. And then I had to create new beliefs that things will work out. I'm capable of figuring out how to do this. I'm capable of finding work anywhere I go. I'm capable of finding a way to make things work no matter what happens. And once I started thinking like that, I felt confident, I felt strong, and I felt like I could do anything. And that was what made van dwelling awesome for me. If I didn't have that, if I didn't train my brain to think that way, and if I didn't maintain thinking strong thoughts that made me feel good and allowing the times when I don't feel good, when I feel stressed out, when I feel anxious, when I feel sad or angry or pissed off, because sometimes I am, man, and you have to allow those feelings, because if you don't, they get stuck in your body and they snowball and you end up in that stress state like I was in, or angry like I was when I was younger. I was so angry and just sad and pissed off, and this is unfair, and I hate this, and all that. And I didn't allow myself to actually feel those feelings. I just stuffed them down. So anyway, that's another conversation that I'm sure I'll either have on this channel or my other one, which I'm starting up soon. So yeah, so I think that pretty much covers it, guys. That was really my experience and how I made this van dwelling thing something glorious, and how you can make any situation glorious. Because really, with those tools that I learned and applied and found out were just like the juicy good stuff, I know that I'll be okay in any situation. Like, no matter what happens, I'll be good, man. I'll find a way, and I'll find a way to be happy, even if things are really tough and suck. And you know what? Sometimes in the van, things do suck. When I'm totally out of money and I haven't yet experienced the fruit of creating incredible situations for myself, or when I'm stuck in bad weather, when I'm in like a town I just really don't like or whatever, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes the weather's, wow, everything's really bright without these glasses. Sometimes it does suck. Sometimes I'm not lonely, but I just really want to go and hang out with people, and I'm stuck somewhere where I can't do that or whatever. But anyway, that everything's a balance, man. There's good and there's bad with everything. It's up to us to make every experience and every moment the best that it can be, so that we can become the best people and we can be, and live the best lives we can while we're here, and try to make the lives better for everybody else around us. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Love you, Sam!